Welcome, everyone, to this episode of The Gretchen Casey Show, where I talk to real people in the field of real estate who are not only experts, but they're generous and willing to give their knowledge and their wisdom to us here. And the goal of the show is for you to gain some information and some tips to help you reach your goals in owning real estate, and also to take some of the guesswork out of what to do or who to call and to guide you through the process. So today I have David Gyurits, who is with me. He is the Regional Sales Manager at Mortgage Alliance for GTA West and Ontario Southwest. For those of you who don't know, Mortgage Alliance is the brokerage that I work with and for, and so Dave is my regional manager.
Awesome.
And
thanks for having me.
yeah, so I met Dave, and I don't know, Dave, how long ago? I'm thinking 10 years, but I'm not sure.
Maybe more than that. Yeah, exactly. I just thinking that too. It could be 10 or maybe 12 years. It's been a long time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've both been with Mortgage Alliance a long time. And Dave, on a personal level, he's quite a dynamic individual, and maybe he'll talk a little bit about some of that today. We got to know each other a little better because we together went on a cruise for Mortgage Alliance for awards and recognition. And Dave is an amazing regional manager. He provides so much support to myself and all the other mortgage agents and brokers and franchises. He is so much knowledge and energy, and really is great at giving us information that we can share with our clients or use to be better at our jobs. So I'm really thrilled to have you here today, Dave.
Awesome. Wow, you're building me up now. That's a lot to live up to.
Well, it's 100% true.
Thank you so much. You're very generous. Thank you.
And I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and we'll talk a little bit more after that about some of the support you've given to our team recently.
Yeah, so I think my job is a couple things, right? It just to, again, support to be an extension of my agents like Gretchen, right? And the nice thing at Mortgage Alliance is, we're definitely a family, and when we deal with our clients coming to working with their brokers, we're an extension of them. So to help them out, to give them advice, to work with Gretchen in terms of providing her with hopefully a good base for training. So then when she is meeting with her clients, she has has a full depth of whatever she needs, and just an extension of her. If she needs something, she can reach out to myself. She has Claire. There's a lot of people at our team here that are really, really good at supporting Gretchen to, assist her clients to meet their goals. And that's a big thing. And I think what I've kind of taken upon myself in the last 3 months is to kind of hopefully maybe take it to the next level, is to provide more training and support to all of us. Because, we're all going through, of course, our lives have been turned upside down. It's not easy for a lot of us. And I think, now we have a lot more engagement in terms of the training we're doing on a weekly basis. When it gets us together, we're all social people. And we had to find new ways to stay connected. So I think stuff like this is amazing, right? We get to get out there to consumers and to tell them, educate them about what's going on. A lot has changed in the mortgage world. So I think, having these platforms is great. And people want to hear us right now. We can't get, in front of them. So we need to find other ways to connect with people to show them how we can help, or just to be there, right? Because, people are afraid that they're losing their jobs, kids are at home, and, you got to do, maybe if especially you're working from home and looking after your kids, and there's a lot of questions out there right now. So, it's great for us as mortgage professionals to be able there to help people. So I think it's a really good time for us.
Excellent. And Dave, you've done some really wonderful webinars. Every week we're having webinars. Prior to COVID, we would have, regional meetings sort of quarterly. And so the nice thing is we are getting these weekly updates. They're very easy to access and be there. And you've had some fantastic speakers and content. What would you share for the audience who are, home buyers? They're maybe either they're going to live in their home, or they're also investors, maybe have rentals. If you could share maybe a couple of bits of information from speakers or recent webinars you've done that they might find useful, that maybe didn't trickle its way through me yet to them, and you could share some tips or ideas or information they could really use.
Yeah, I think we've had some really, really good people on there. And in terms of one of the things that just came out this week, we discussed yesterday, was for the mortgage payment deferrals. I'm sure a lot of people, if you did take advantage of them, what we're seeing now is Equifax is now actually reporting on the bureau when you're in deferral. So if you are looking at getting a mortgage or refinancing, if the lender sees that any of your products are in deferral, that could really steer them away from your application. Or we're going to have to make sure we're aware of this up front so we can actually have a story for the lender. So pardon me, it's really good to be communicating with your mortgage professional, with Gretchen, about that. So that's what we're seeing now. And that just came up in the last week or so. And that unfortunately wasn't really announced by Equifax. It just started happening, that they were going to be recording this. And then what it says a natural, affected by natural or declared disaster. And what that means is that account is under deferral because of COVID-19. Of what's going on. So some lenders, especially our B lenders, which look after you if your credit and your income isn't quite up to par, as an A client, they're actually, that's going to scare them away quite a bit. So if you are under deferral with any of your products, let us know, because we'll have to look at that application a little differently. Yesterday we had actually another really good guest on too. We had Michael Solomon, who is a paralegal. And the reason we brought him on was because he deals with a lot of investors and landlords, and how to deal with tenants. And especially now, the government's been great. They put some stuff to help out tenants if they're having trouble with rent. Unfortunately, there's the other side of that too, where some people are taking advantage of it. And as an investor, landlord, if you have unfortunately the wrong tenant in your thing, you don't have very much rights. So he was actually just good there to help landlords. Hey, you do have rights. And what he was talking about is, tenants who were actually already before COVID were behind. He said he had one landlord who was behind over one tenant was behind $42,000 in rent yesterday. And now he's paying, $4,500 a month. But then he just compounded it and blamed everything on COVID. Well, you were already in a bad situation. Now you're some people unfortunately may take advantage of the news thing. So it was good, as I'm a real estate investor as well, because a lot of investors, sometimes they'll just say, hey, well, if a tenant doesn't owe me money, I just get them out. I don't care about the money. Well, there is recourse. Michael has said there is ways for you to get that money back. You don't have to give up, right? And unfortunately, some people do go through bad situations, but I've seen it where people just take advantage, and they know the rules and regulations of the Tenant Protection Act. And they use it to their advantage, unfortunately. So it was really good to hear from a paralegal all the different, what you can and cannot do, how we can actually be there and work with tenants, and how you can protect your investment as an investor, right? So for all of your investing clients, I'd suggest we can actually send them out the link to that webinar. And they can, it's really good. And I'd even suggest, if you don't have working with Michael, because I'm going to hire him for my properties. It's just I don't have time, and I don't know all the rules, right? That's not, I'm so busy doing everything. Yes, I've been a real estate investor for a while, but I don't know all the, what I can and cannot do. So that was, I got a lot of really good feedback from that session yesterday. So, if you are a real estate investor, a landlord, or thinking of becoming one, it's a really good person to meet with, because he'll just he'll sit down with you, and that's a resource that you need to be aware of if you are looking at investing in real estate. And Gretchen, I'm sure you deal with a lot of real estate investors, and that's kind of part of our process at Mortgage Alliance. If you do want to get into an investing property, we're going to align you with the right people, so you can protect yourself and be educated, right? And it just makes you feel a lot better about it. And we had another gentleman on, Dylan Suter. And if you saw that one, he's a real estate agent with Keller Williams. He's also an entrepreneur on top. He also does other businesses. He has a home renovation business. And what he does is he's just a very, very driven individual. And it was great to hear his process in terms of how he stays on top of things, and what he does, to keep himself motivated. Like, he'll get on with his team in the morning. They'll do a Zoom call. They'll all be on mute, but they'll be just following up with contacts, getting out there, meeting with people, and they're all just keeping each other accountable. So it's just a good way they were doing it.
That's very cool. Great idea.
Yeah, it was great. You could just see everyone. Dylan's like, if I see someone being there not doing that, I'm okay. I'll come up. Okay, what are you doing? This is you got to work. What are you doing? Right. So and no matter what you do right now, a lot of us, sometimes it's hard to get motivated, right? So it's good to have someone around you. Dylan talked a lot about, keeping motivated, but also keeping his health and his wellness motivated, right? So I'm a big believer in that as well. He talked a lot about, he has one of those rings that he wears. It's like almost like a fitness band that measures all of his sleep patterns. He did blood testing to see different foods and stuff to see how he metabolizes things. So he really knows what he needs to do. Like he's the type of guy that he said he can metabolize. He can have, a cup of coffee and then go to sleep 10 minutes later. I can't, I'd be up for it all night. So it's good to know these different things, but, he he gets up in the morning, he does meditation, he works out. I think I'm a big believer in having, the wellness, because, there's a lot of stress in our world and in regular times, especially now. I even found myself there for a week and a half. I was working out in the mornings. At the end of the day, then, I was just kind of off. Then I changed my patterns. And I'm working out more in the evenings because I found that my mornings were too rushed. It just kind of helps me out after a stressful day to kind of de-stress, and I really like it. So I was telling Gretchen, we were talking about, I do cardio boxing. I do some high interval intensity training. So it's just good it's a good stress reliever for me. I'm a high energy guy, so I need to find ways to de-stress, and especially now what's going on, it really helps me, because I found I've kind of struggled a bit. It's been nice because I'm usually on the road, but being from home, some days you're like, you're just not feeling right. You're kind of blah. You know what? It's kind of depressing being at home. Well, me getting out, so we go for a walk every night, my wife and I, right? Just get out of the house. I do my training in the basement, but then we get out, we go for a walk. We get out. It's just our time to, we don't get on our phones. So that's a really good thing for us and our mental and for our marriage too. So it's good to connect with your spouse, because I'm always doing 21 things at once. So yeah, I think the wellness piece is really a big part of because it, to keep yourself motivated and just happy, right? So it's just, we try to have a healthy diet. We eat, we try to eat very clean in terms of what we do. And that's a big part of, of being healthy as well. What you put into your body is very important too. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah, that is a really great point and so important. And because your success in your life, owning your home, owning your other homes, well, if you have an underlying unhappiness, the rest of it's not going to fix that for you. So, excellent points, and I appreciate your sharing both your ideas and what Dylan's doing as well. That's awesome, and I like that idea of having team members or people that you work with kind of just there in the background, and you can encourage each other that way to just say, hey, let's keep on track. So,
and that's a good thing. I have agents that call me like every other day just to keep them accountable, right? I offer it to anyone saying, hey, okay, what have you done today? Did you do this? Did you do that? That's part of what we do. And, you can do that in your business or in your personal life, right? Like and sometimes we lose focus. It's like, even like myself, like we got so out of sorts, and during this, my wife, she's working from home, then she went back to work. I was, working out in the mornings, and we weren't having breakfast together. And, that's not a good thing. So then I had to change. I'm like, no, this is important. We need to have breakfast together. So now I get up and we make sure we have breakfast together before she goes to work. I think that's important, right? So it just is something you have to prioritize. And I think it's, even for ourselves, it's, we can have even it's just 10 minutes, we get to eat, and, because so much is changing right now. It's just, routine is good, right? So just having those things where you can connect and do what you need to do is really important as well.
Okay, excellent. So Dave, another area, you being in the position that you're in, you get exposure to what is happening with Mortgage Alliance, our parent M3 Financial, and Mortgage Professionals Canada. You probably see a lot about what's going on, and you get an idea of what direction things are going in the mortgage area. Do you have any insights to share that we maybe could find informative and useful?
Well, yeah, just in speaking from let's even just start about interest rates, right? If you look at, like where things are going, interest rates could still come down more, right? And it's where the CMB, the Canadian Mortgage Bond, is, like we've seen in the last couple of days, like the rates are coming down again. Even this morning, like CMLS lowered rates again. So you're seeing some really, really low rates. So that's, and that's going to be the way for the next little while.
And the variables, what's going on with the variables specifically too?
So excellent question. So like actually our next meeting, I'm going to talk about that. Like it's fixed rates are low, which is great. But the problem is we talked yesterday about some of these lenders have extremely high prepayment penalties. So we talked about like HSBC, like they had a 1.99 5-year for a while, which is an awesome rate. But we did some calculations. There was a great article published about, don't get taken in by this 1.99. You think, oh, I have 1.99. If I break it, it's not that big of a deal. Well, we looked at a standard 3-month interest penalty would have been about $1,500, but because of the way HSBC calculates their prepayment penalties, you'd be looking at about $23,000 in prepayment penalties, and that's even if you expired 3 years of the 5-year term, right? That's only with 2 years remaining. So just beware, and that's where we're here to help educate people. Is yes, rates are coming down, so variable. Nice. Why are variables great? Variables are great for one thing because of if you ever have to pay it out, it's only a 3-month interest penalty. So it's a lot more flexible on the back end. Yes, you get uncertainty as the rates go through, but you get complete certainty at the end to see, okay, well, if I need to do something, it's very easy to make a change, right? And they say the average Canadian does something on their mortgage every 33 months. Well, maybe we should, variables now, over the last couple months, the discounting on variables have kind of disappeared. They haven't been priced very well. Prime's come down. 4 months ago, we could do almost prime -1. We got up to almost prime plus there for a bit. Now the discounting is coming back because of how the market is working. We're seeing prime -40. I think we have a prime -45, I think, or 43 right now.
This morning I saw 46, prime minus 0.46.
46, yeah. So I'm a big proponent of variables, so that's a really, really big thing there. So I think it's just because of, especially if it's a rental property, or if again, a question to ask yourself, you're looking at, if you're sitting in front of Gretchen and you were in front of her, 2.5 years ago, we should probably be looking at a variable, because if you're coming in quite a bit, we want to build that flexibility into your plan, right? So from a macro, like it's a great time because rates are so low. It's a great time to sit down with Gretchen and look at your mortgage, because we could probably save you some money, right? She has a lot of clients, especially a lot of our lenders that we work with, we call the monoline lenders, have a much more favorable prepayment penalty than a lot of the bigger banks, like your RBCs, your BMOs, your CIBCs. So lenders that we deal with, even though if the rate's sometimes a bit higher, on the back end, they're going to be a lot nicer to you as well, right? So that's a nice thing. And, I advise everyone right now, sit down with your mortgage professional, sit down with Gretchen, go over your stuff, have a look at it, because we should be meeting with you once a year. We do an annual mortgage checkup now more than ever, right? Or if you're looking at, making, buying, purchasing right now, CMHC came out obviously a couple weeks ago with some changes where they're actually reducing the, we call our affordability or serviceability ratios, that before they'd allow you to have up to 44% of your debt allocated to your monthly income, and 39% of your monthly income allocated to your debt for qualifying. Well, now they've tightened that up, and now they're restricting only 42% of your gross income can go to cover your debt, and only now 35% of your income can go to cover your debt. So that was a little bit taken back, but we also saw, the nice thing is there's 2 other mortgage insurers in the business, and they didn't make those changes. So which is nice, and that was because we were very concerned, because that would have really affected first-time home buyers, which is what we were very concerned about. But it was funny, but like just actually last night, there's an article came out in the UK. They just actually, a lot of the lenders scrapped their 5% and 10% down mortgage programs. So you see other countries kind of maybe, thinking there's going to be a housing issue. So maybe, CMHC wasn't totally out of line, but as a first-time home buyer, we still have products available to you. So which is quite nice. But I can really say is now is the time to sit down with Gretchen, go over your stuff, see where you are, and just get a checkup, or if you're looking at buying, you need to get in, sit down with her. Now more than ever, you should be, looking at your options.
Excellent. And so Dave, one last piece of advice for Canadians today. What would you have to say?
You know what? Definitely, you know what? During these times, is sit down with your financial professional. Now is a great time to do a checkup, look at all your stuff because rates are so low right now. What do you have outstanding? And look at everything. Look at your investments. Look at your mortgages. And even if you may not have much debt, well, that's great. Maybe now we look at getting you into an investment property, but you really want to take a stack of stuff. Look at your budget. You know what? It should if some people if your budget wasn't that great, well, you know what? And hopefully you were lucky to keep working this whole time. Now is the time. The experts say you should have 3 to 6 months of your salary put aside, right? Or can we get you access to at least have a line of credit available to you in case something comes up, right? So it's just a good reminder for us to sharpen our pencils when it comes to our budgeting. Because whoever thought we'd be in a pandemic and so many people aren't able to work, right? So as we come through this, it's a good reminder to, hey, you know what, do you want to go through this again? Or if I lose my job even for 1 month, I won't be able to make my bills. Well, it's it's a good time to reminder to set a savings plan aside, or even has that access to some credit that would float you through a few months if you weren't getting some income. So doing a financial review right now, it's a really good thing for sure.
Excellent advice. I totally agree.
Awesome.
David, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your tips and giving us your time today. I know it's very valuable and you're a busy guy, so I'm sure this information will help everyone quite a bit.
I'm so happy. Thank you for having me, Gretchen. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.